Hey everybody, it's Rob here. There has been a new patch apparently released to Diablo 4, and I quickly want to update you. There's been a hotfix here by Adam Fletcher. The link is going to be in the description, and he's talking about some stuff. We'll go into it in a second, but the biggest buff here seems to be an unnoted change, and I don't know if this is a bug, but right now, guys, they significantly boosted the amount of Sigil Powder that you're basically getting, and it did this in a pretty clever way, I think. So what they did here, if you go to the occultist, you notice all the things, let's say a T10, still cost the same. Like it says sigil powder cost, like down here, it says 1,200 sigil powder. But you see here, I have a million sigil powder, 999,000. This is the cap, you can't get more. So if I craft this here, you see it's supposed to cost 1,250, but I click on craft, and now see what happened. We only lost about 200 sigil powder. So instead of 1,200, this now costs 200, and the display is wrong. So they actually significantly reduced the cost here of the sigil powder. So a million sigil powder will now let you craft 800 of these tier 10 sigils. And this is potent like throughout, or this is the case throughout the way. I do have a sheet here with the sigil level, the new sigil powder cost, and the old sigil power cost, as well as the efficiency increase. So you can see here on the high end, it's been reduced by up to 7.5 times. So it costs divided by 7.5 instead of 2,000 powder for a 25. I'll show you here right now. Let's craft a 25. So you see here, it's supposed to cost 2,000, right? And 999, 800, like you can see the number here, minus 2,000. You would think it would be 997. Okay, but you see if I'm gonna craft this here, my sigil powder doesn't even go down by 2,000, so we only lost about, like 200 something powder. 270 powder to be exact, and we just got 25 key out of it. So they buffed this significantly, and I think this was also a great way of buffing it, because people were actually struggling and trying to get into the Avatar of Zir required so much sigil powder that a lot of people, especially if you die once or twice, you get one shot in the Avatar of Zir, and you can't get in. And you actually have to grind tier 100 Nightmare Dungeon. And I think those sigils only give you like 120 sigil powder each. But now that you don't need 800, you only need 150 to enter tier 1 already, it's significantly easier, or it takes significantly less time. If you're grinding tier 100 to get some sigil powder, you only need, 2 sigils to enter Avatar of Zir again, and so on. So everybody that has a lot of sigil powder got a big efficiency increase, and everybody that doesn't have anything can just grind Nightmare Dungeons, like only need to run a few now, like it's times 7 efficiency. So you need to grind 7 times less Nightmare Dungeons to be able to access the new endgame, to be able to do your Avatar of Zir, even if you're dying every now and then. So I think that is a really cool change that is going to help out so many new players, because I've heard so many of you guys say, yeah, Rob, I can't even enter Avatar of Zir because I don't have sigil powder. So now you need 7 times less powder to enter. So they sort of reduced the gap between Avatar of Zir and Nightmare Dungeons, and I think that's great. You also, in turn, get a bit less sigil powder when you complete the run. So before, I used to get like 2,000 powder when I complete a tier 24 or something. You get a bit less now, but that is also fine, because like basically the value of doing Nightmare Dungeons and the value of the sigil powder that you already have has been significantly increased by up to times 7 efficiency. So yeah, if you had this problem and you ran out of sigil powder, like now is your time, guys. You can actually access the new endgame. I think this brings it to a way wider like player audience that has access to this the system now. So actually this number here is completely lying. I just realized I was talking about that I can craft about 700 sigils of the highest tier, but I can actually craft, let's say we have a million, right? That is a 1 with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 zeros, and we just divide that by this number here, and we actually, that's 100 million. 1 million, like this. And we divide it by 270. So that actually means I can craft 3,700 T25 keys, right? And I can probably craft, divided by this, 5,000 T10 keys. Right, so yeah, this is a lot. And the tooltip in the game is actively lying. I don't know if they are they just forgot to update this, or if this is a bug, or if this is still going to get updated, or if this is going to be reverted. But I would very much for them to like to keep it that way, because I think it's amazing, and it doesn't really matter on the high end, but on the lower end, like let's say for like more regular players that are playing like a bit of the lower tiers here, this is huge. This is a huge efficiency increase, and it allows more players to access the new Diablo 4 endgame, and I think that's just a huge W. So I really hope they're just gonna fix the visuals and they're gonna keep it and not revert it. I don't know if it was a bug or not, because it is also not listed in the hotfix changes here. Again, link is gonna be down here. This was posted by Paz Radar here, community manager, 20 hours ago. And they actually fixed the Midwinter Buff. It was only 6 minutes. This is the, let's go there real quick. This is the new buff that we get in Kyovashad region. And it's supposed to give you a 1.2 damage multiplier, but only in this area. So you can see here, you can, a lot of people don't notice actually, and I forgot to mention this. So you can just go here on Kyovashad in the middle. You click this Midwinter Ward, and you get this buff. And you can see here, your attacks devastate Blight Fiends and Red Cloaked Horrors, dealing 20% additional damage. I'm not too sure if this is a straight out multiplier, or if this 20% is additive. But this buff now, instead of 6 minutes, it will persist for an hour straight. So you can use this buff to just have an easier time doing all these events. I think it's a pretty cool one. I've not tested it. It also works together in combination with the new aspect. With this one, Shard of the Dawn, you can just buy that, but there's been some bugs with this. For example, weapon switches has been completely removing the bug, has been completely removing the buff. So this was supposed to be a bug in my opinion. I don't know, like it just doesn't work on a Barb. Like I can't use this on Barb. The FX is useless for any build that weapon switches. So I've not really retested it. I will do that next days, probably make an updated video. I hope they are going to fix that bug as well, because it doesn't list it in here. So yeah, but you can get this buff here. 20% damage. Just click the Midwinter Buff here, and they buffed it from 6 minutes to 60 minutes, so times 10, that's a good one. Fixed an issue where Bloodseekers and Abattoir of Zir could not spawn if a party member left a dungeon when they were about to spawn. Yeah, I've seen this a couple times. There was no Bloodseekers at all in cases, like occasionally. But yeah, and further stability and performance improvements. So I'm super happy to see them constantly updating the game. And yeah, I think this Sigil Powder change, reduction in Sigil Powder is a huge W for the community. Lots of people will be able to access, or finally access, this kind of content now. And you can also probably push higher tiers with this, because if you enter an Abattoir of Zir, I've talked about this in previous videos, there is certain mob types, for example the spiders, that are way better than other mob types. Obviously that's a problem by itself, but for now there's also some open maps where it's way easier to create bigger pools and stuff. So there's definitely some fishing going on. I think this is a very toxic trend, let's say. I don't think the game should be like that. I think the maps and the monster types should be about equal. Right now they're not, and we have had this problem in Diablo 3 for many, many years. So I hope if Abattoir of Zir or some variation of it becomes a part of the endgame system long term, even after the season ends. Because right now it's supposed to only last until January, and then the endgame is gone again. I hope they can take some learnings of this and bring it back in some shape or form with some positive adjustments. And I hope fishing is not going to be a thing. Right now it is. So this increase in Sigil Powder allows you to craft more keys, and will also allow players to clear on average a bit higher, because you can just fish for the best in slot map with the best in slot monster types. And also people are also starting to fish for the Bloodseekers. There is one Bloodseeker, which is a sorcerer. That is a huge problem, especially for melee classes, because it just keeps running away. It keeps teleporting away. If you fight a sorcerer, you know what I'm talking about. Like, she just like is very sneaky. She uses teleport. She disappears. She runs away, and you can never hit all 3 Bloodseekers at the same time. And on the very high tiers, where they literally have trillions of HP in tier 25, it's a big issue. So ideally you always want to have all 3 Bloodseekers together, so you can damage them all 3 at the same time. Because just killing one of them takes 3 minutes basically, and if you can kill them all at the same time, well, it takes 3 minutes. But if you kill all 3 separately, it would take you about 9 minutes on tier 25, even with a level 150 glyph. Like my glyph right now is level 100, so I'm not quite there yet. But I will try to get it up. We'll see how much time we have over the holidays. But yeah, either way, I think it's a great change. So if you were struggling with Sigil Power, go try it out again. They buffed it significantly. They didn't talk about it yet. So I really hope they won't revert it and they'll leave it in the game, because I think the change is a huge W. Hope you enjoyed this little overview, guys. Take care. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.